Hi, it's Melissa here, and I'm really excited today because I'm going to be showing you a layout that I'm creating as a guest designer over at Happy Scatter. Happy Scatter is by Jennifer Grace, and she makes the most amazing, beautiful scrapbook embellishments and things like stencils to just really accompany you in your scrapbooking or card making or mixed media. So I'm just going to show you what she sent me. She sent me two stencils. This one is the Frameology stencil, and it's got lots of different frames on it. And this one is the Scattered Triangle stencil, which is the one I'm going to be using today. I've got the So I Said Flair set. These are the Look at This 3x4 die cut cards, and I've pulled out this one here which says This Was the Day. I'll just show you the others, some of the others. These are really good for people like me that don't have a silhouette yet. So there's a set of stars, Look at This, a speech bubble, some of those triangles, and a clock. Here I've got some wood veneers which I've pulled out of this little bag. So I've actually coloured these ones here with my mint gelato. And I'll show you how I do this one when I get into the layout. And I've also, she sent me this My Zone mixed embellishment kit. And I've just pulled out some things that are appropriate for scrapping a boy page, because I'll be scrapping photos of my son. So there's a flare button there, some cork, a wood veneer that says This Is My Zone, and some sequins. So I'll be back in a sec and I'll get into the layout. So before I get into making the layout, I just better show you the rest of the products that I'm using. And these are just some older product that I've pulled from my stash. Like I said, it's a boy layout, so I've pulled Crepe Paper Boys Rule collection. And I'll just show you some of the papers. I've been making my way slowly through this collection, so it's going to be good to use it up. And these are the ones that I've pulled here. I only got the 6x6 because I like to cut my papers up, so it works really well for that kind of design. A couple of tags, and these two here are from the embellishment ephemera pack. I've got the 12x12 sticker sheet, and this is the only piece of 12x12 that I got. And I got it because it's a cut apart sheet. I've also pulled a really old frame from Bracelet Grey. These are some Amy Tangerine chipboard and some twine and ink stars. So not sure how much I'll use, but it's a good starting point anyway. So I'm starting with a piece of white cardstock, 12x12, and I've used a circle cutter just to cut a circle, and then I've taken just an old piece of cardstock and I've traced the circle on there, and now I'm just going through the 6x6 paper pad, and I pulled out some of the papers that I think will work for this layout, and I'm just ripping them and layering them across the circle. So what will happen is once I've stuck them all down, this piece of green cardstock will go behind the circle I've cut out, and you'll just see all the layers poking through. Now I like the white ripped edge on my papers, and there's a way to do this, and if you watch me rip, yeah, so hard to describe, but the way that I rip it to make sure I get that white edge. And it's best to have a straight edge, so once I get through the papers I'll use my trimmer just to straighten it. So that's what it looks like there, and I'm just doing the last one. And I've just used double-sided tape. I did think about sewing, machine stitching across these, but I decided just to leave it. So the next step is just to get that glued down, and once again I just use my double-sided tape. At this point, the only thing I knew I wanted to do was layer those papers on the circle. The rest will just happen as I go along. I did know I wanted to use 4 photos and I didn't want to have them in a line or close together. So now I'm coming in with the triangle stencil, and I mixed some gesso with some moulding paste or modelling paste, and I've sped this up because I can be a bit finicky about applying it, and I don't want perfection, but I don't really want a triangle to be half covered either, so I'm just mirroring that on the other side. And it's just to provide a bit of texture and interest. But I love using just white paint or moulding paste or even just gesso through stencils. I love that look, especially on a colourful background. So here I'm showing you how I coloured in those wood veneers. I'm just using that gelato, and I'm just using my finger. And so I'll just rub the colour into the wood veneer until I'm happy with the saturation. So I want them all to look similar. And now I'm using the gelato with some water, and I just keep it in a spray bottle. And with the packaging technique that everyone's really into at the moment, and it didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. I think because I'm so used to doing this with mist or watercolour, but in the end I like the effect that it gives, and I just keep going until I'm happy. So it's kind of an imperfect look really, and I wanted to add that minty green colour. So that card is going to end up being my title. Now I just keep going until it has a look that I'm pleased with. So now I want to back that card on one of the pattern papers, so I'm just going through the paper pad, and I'm wanting to pick a paper that isn't too busy and one I haven't used before, and so that little craft coloured one is perfect. It has a small repeating pattern and it looks good on with the green. And I'm just going to stick that down and cut around it. Now, I didn't wait for that card to dry, but it probably would be a good idea. I'm a bit impatient. I did consider outlining those words with a black pen, but it was fine in the end, so I just left it. So these are the photos that I'm using, and I'm just deciding where to put them. This is actually a Christmas layout, and I love doing Christmas layouts with non-traditional Christmas, I love doing Christmas layouts without Christmas products. And the reason I picked these photos is because it's with my son. He's 8, he's our oldest, and for his Christmas present last year, he's really into Minecraft, and my husband sourced on the internet a pickaxe. So it's made of foam, and Sam just loves anything to do with Minecraft, so it's pretty exciting. Sean could not wait for Sam to get this gift, so that's why I think that calling the layout "This Was the Day," because it really was the day that finally we'd get to see how excited he'd be opening it. So I purposefully took lots of photos on Christmas Day, and this is like 4 stages of him opening up the present. And I wanted to show you that these embellishments and bits and pieces from Happy Scatter can be used for a boy layout. So that's why I've picked, as you'll see coming up, I've picked the wood veneers and some of the cork pieces. So here I'm wanting to back those photos with something, and I've used a tag on that first one, and here I'm just going through the cut apart sheet and selecting 3 other pieces that will work, and so that's also a tag, and you can just trim off the corner pieces, and then I've used my crocodile to punch the hole. This is just a journaling card. And so I always add twine. I can't I have this thing about when I have tags I can't leave them without twine, so that's what I'm doing there. And I forgot to say that each of my photos, originally I was going to put a white border on them, but because of the white in the background on that pattern paper, I've just gone with a piece of Studio Calico vellum that had in my stash for a really long time, so it's perfect for this. So here I'm getting those wood veneers, and what I'm wanting to do is put a piece of wood veneer with each photo. So just building up some clusters. That one there I didn't show you me colouring it, or I don't even think I had it in the shot, but I've done that one ahead of time as well. I think it says this is my zone, which is perfect for Sam having opened the gift and raising it above his head as if he's going to chop something down. So for those of you that haven't watched my videos or even heard of me, or maybe you haven't even heard my accent, I'm from New Zealand and I live in Queenstown, and I've been scrapbooking since Sam, who is now 8, since he was about 18 months old. So it's been a while now, and I have 3 children, and I'm married to Sean, and we've lived here, I think, nearly 15 years. So we're really blessed to live here. We love it, and we don't have that much access to scrapbooking products here in New Zealand, so it's always exciting to find bits and pieces overseas, and these embellishments really are awesome, and I hope you'll go across to Jennifer's shop and check them out. And she has new releases coming every month, so you just need to keep an eye out and yeah, see what's coming up. So here I'm layering some of these cork pieces, and they were perfect because they had that green on them as well. And I love that it's a bottle on the bottom right there. It's a bottle with flames coming out, and I thought that was perfect for the moment that Sam actually opened up the gift and saw the axe. That flare button there, just at the bottom there, I try so hard to get it on this layout, but it just doesn't really work. So you'll see me fiddling around with it a bit. That there is a piece that I've cut from that cut apart as well, and I thought it's perfect for this page because Sam would agree that it really was an awesome day, and this was a really awesome gift. So just not 100% sure where I'm going to put my title at this point, so I did consider putting some of those other flare badges down, but they're quite girly colours and they really don't work with a boy page, so yeah, still held them up to have a look. So I'm adding some dimension to my title, and at this point I've committed to putting it there, and now I'm at the point of sticking down my 4 photos. A lot of the background, the circle with paper, gets covered up, but I like it though because it does add a bit of interest and a bit more pattern to the layout. So when I place these photos down, I don't want them linear, so what you didn't see, and I've cut it out, was me just fiddling around with the placement. And I've added some dimension in some parts of them as well to keep it more interesting. So I found the perfect place for that. Awesome. And I've stuck that down. And I'm still fiddling around with the flare badge to see if I can get it on, but it's not working. I like to add some pop dots behind the tops of my tags. It just lifts them off the page, gives dimension and provides a bit of shadowing. Also lifts that twine off the page as well, which I like. These are the Amy Tangerine chipboard, and I can't remember what collection it's from, but the blue and green worked perfect with this layout, specifically with the colours, and worked well with the Crepe Paper Boys Raw collection. That's a really old frame from Basic Grey. I think I got that in the Studio Calico kit years ago, so it's really good to get that one down. I like adding little bits of pieces for interest. And there's nothing more satisfying than using up older product in your stash. And of course, I love new product as well. So here, these stars are from Twine and Ink, and while I'm talking about using things up, I get all of them on the page, and I like that sort of random scattered look. And here I'm using the sequins that come in the embellishment pack, and originally I thought I'd place them around the page like stars, but I like that they just add some interest only on the title card. I don't overthink. When I'm scattering things on the page like this, I really don't overthink. I just go with my instinct of where I should put them. So I realised that because there's so much going on this page, it's a pretty busy page for me, that it needs something to let your eye rest upon. So I've gone with an old piece of Pebbles, I think it's Front Porch Collection paper for my background, and the colours, it's got mostly green, but it's also got some red, work really well with the crepe paper collection, and of course with the embellishments that I've added from Happy Scatter. So I've done my journaling, and now I'm adding some Heidi Swap Seafoam Colour Shine. Sometimes I don't know when to stop with my misting, so I just go for gold on this one. And I've just added some on the corners of my photos and a little bit below the Awesome card. Now, at this point, I wanted to add some numbers to show where the photos, well, because it's in sequence, these photos, so I've just numbered them 1 to 4, starting with that one on the top right. And now I'm coming in with that sticker sheet from the boys' rule and seeing what will work. A lot of the sayings are really for younger boys, and I'll have to go back and scrap some younger photos of Sam, but I just want to see if there's anything I can get down just to add a bit more to this page. And he loves those little computer game little people. I know they're not from Minecraft, but going with the whole playing computer games theme, they are perfect for this. And when I make the pages for my children, I actually do think, what would they like? So there's the final page. I had so much fun using the Happy Scatter embellishments. You really do have to check them out. They can add so much more to your page, and Jennifer's designs are really original, and these are just some close-ups showing you there of the main pieces that I used. This is another page that I made. I wanted to make a girly page as well. I didn't film the process, but I did want to show you that her products work for boys and girls. So that title card, look at this, I decided to scrap a photo of our baby. She's now 1, but everyone would talk about her cheeks and how big they were, and would always say, look at her cheeks. So I thought that worked really well, and I've just used the flare badges from that set that I showed you before, and I've used some wood veneers, and I've predominantly used the Dear Lizzie like polka dot party collection and a little bit of crepe paper. You'll also see that I've used that frame stencil, which I've layered behind the photo. So here's some close-ups. You can see the wood veneer and the badges, and that's the die cut card. Thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. It's been an absolute pleasure.